So, moving into mana Taurite. Our mana Taurite Pay Equity campaign is about righting historical wrongs for the lowest paid women and some men in our union. As we saw last night, we have had success with the Ministry of Education support workers, and we're progressing a number of other claims. To find out more about this campaign, I invite Manu again, Virginia again, Margie Robson and Sue Poole to take us through this session. Can you welcome them, please?
Oh, kia ora no tātou. I just did a quick costume change. This time last year we were just starting out on most of our mana Taurite pay equity journeys. At annual conference we focused on why mana Taurite pay equity is important, and that's to right the historic wrongs. Value the work of women in the education sector by winning life-changing pay equity settlements. Last night we celebrated the first pay equity win in education with the presentation of the Wahine Toa Awards to the 4 women who were the leaders of the support worker pay equity claim. We're pleased that Kathy, Denise, Jacqueline and Mary have been able to stay on for today to start our session off. And I'd like to invite them to share a short statement about what it has taken to win pay equity for support staff. So could I have Mary, Kathy, Denise and Jacqueline to the stage, please? Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora and good morning. I'm going to talk a little about our journey on the pay equity trail. It all began in 2006 for Kathy, Mary, Jacqueline and I. New to NZEI work, unaware of the path that would follow. Labour was the government back then, and unfortunately for us, issues were not dealt with. Sometime after, National became government and our pay equity case was thrown out. However, we stood strong and continued to toil away, standing up for our rights and beliefs. Fast forward to 2015 and welcome to Jacqueline Brink, ESW from the Hutt Valley, to our pay equity working group. Our work continued and movements towards a court date ensued. Roll on 2018 and Labour had returned to government and our pay equity issues were moved more swiftly than previous years. Fast track to 14th of August 2018 at the Beehive in the company of the Prime Minister, the Minister of Education, Linda Stewart, President of NZEI, Paul Galter, Stephanie Mills, Bella Pardo, all from NZEI, and other delegates from MOE for the signing of our pay equity settlement. A precious moment in New Zealand history, one that I will personally treasure forever. Yay, we did it. For those of you that will follow our path, kia kaha. Fight for what you believe in and never say never. We support you all the way. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mary Jones and I'm a communications support worker with the Ministry of Education. I love my work because I make a difference in many children's lives. I help a child blossom from being shy and unconfident to become socially up with their peers and able to express themselves and be understood. A couple of years back, while working with a child in the staff room of a school, a young man approached me and introduced himself. I had worked with him more than 10 years earlier. He thanked me for my input into his education. That was a really special moment for me. The pay equity journey has been long, but with much determination, patience and belief, we finally feel truly valued for the contribution we make to the education team, and it really feels wonderful. Thank you.
Morena, I'm Jacqueline. For me, it was a personal journey as much as it was a journey for the better of all support workers. I know through this journey that I personally value and I even enjoy my role as an education support worker more than before. And just supporting our most vulnerable tamariki, this journey just took me on a whole new personal level in my work. I know on a journey like this, one has to keep hope alive in your heart and in the hearts of your colleagues. Out of every pay equity journey that you will face, we need to remember that in the end, when all is gone, our relationships with one another has to still stand. And I want to wish you all the best for your journeys. Keep your destination in sight, but don't forget about your journey and make your journey count. Thank you.
We've heard about our 12-year journey. I'm now going to gift to you a whakatauki which is relevant to all sections of NZEI. Whae te iti kāhurangi ki te tuahu koe me he maunga teitei. In essence, this is about aiming high for what is truly valuable, our tamariki, to be persistent and not allow obstacles stop you reaching your goals. Now, we can all do this. Thank you.
Kia ora te whānau. Many, many thanks to Denise, Mary, Jacqueline and Kathy. True wahānau tai. So, just quickly at your tables, you'll have some worksheets on there. Talk about what you heard. These what wahine toa say, it takes to win. And what this might mean for our ongoing claims. Let's hear a couple of real-life stories about undervaluation and what it means for some of these women within our union that are the lowest paid.
I receive government assistance, and generally all year round that is my bread and butter at the best of times anyway, so my teacher aide job is always secondary income for me because I simply can't survive on it.
Some days it makes you feel a bit like dirt. It's like nobody really cares. You know, but we know that without us, those students that rely on us every day won't get what they need. I've been at my school for 18 years. Why have I been there that long? Because I love the job. The most enjoyable part of my role would be when I've explained a strategy to a student and they say, oh, that's how you do it. Oh, nobody's ever shown me that before.
I love it. I'm good at it. I love it. It's hard for me to put into words. Like I get so much joy from my job. I specifically work one-to-one with a child at the moment who has some learning difficulties, and he's just a ball of energy. So my job's really active, it's really physical.
From day to day, they can change. So one day we can have a whole day where the kids are really, really on task, but on Monday they could turn up and they've hardly had any food over the weekend, so their behaviour just turns into a bit like Jurassic Park.
I've worked anywhere from 5 hours a week to 30 hours a week. So great variance. And because I earn for 40 weeks of the year, if that is annualised over 52 weeks, which is a normal working year, I actually earn less than the minimum wage. It pisses me off. It makes me angry. Yeah, it's just not right. Like there's kind of no words for it. Yeah, or they're going to be angry words. Not good at all.
Now my wage equates to being $2 above the minimum wage. And that's after 18 years at one school, 20 years in total doing the job. We've seen pay rises go from a paltry amount of, 5 cents right through to a jump that we had after some massive action that support staff took. We had this march up Queen Street, and when we took it from end to end, we were almost half the length of Queen Street. There were thousands of people. We made an awful noise, which was quite good. It was still only a pay rise of $2. Woohoo! It still didn't give us what we needed, and pay equity is the only way it will do it.
So pay equity in New Zealand is a big issue currently. It's affected many sectors. It's about doing the same or similar work as the opposite sex and earning same or similar money. Over 94% of my sector is female. The government agreed in our last collective agreement to work with us to come to a pay equity agreement. I believe they're committed, and if they're not, we will fight.
We've got a lot of young support staff at school, and I would hate to think that when I'm retiring, they're still fighting for the same thing, because I've been doing it for 20 years now, and I definitely don't want to see them doing it for another 20 years.
I'm responsible for someone else's child every day. We have a massive impact on the outcomes. So that's huge. Human life is valuable. It really is, and I think for teacher aides, we see that.
She works hard for the money. Okay, last year we imagined what a difference winning would make for women taking claims, for families, for our workplaces, for girls and women we work with, for women now and in the future. Let's get an idea of who in this room will be impacted directly by mana taurite, pay equity wins. If you are the ministry, well, here's the ladies, e two ladies from the Ministry of Education Support Workers who won mana taurite pay equity. E2, if you're an early childhood teacher. E2, early childhood teachers. You've got 3 claims processes underway and others lining up. E2, if you're a teacher aide. E2, teacher aides. Okay, this claim is well underway. E2, all other support staff, including administrators, librarians, science techs, coordinators, kia rahi i te reo. Okay, breaking news. On Friday, we notified the Ministry of Education that we believe there is a mana taurite pay equity issue to be addressed. Ka pai, kia ora. Ngā mihi. Look around the room. These roles in education are critical. They are bulk funded, they are women dominated. Schools, centres, children and families cannot keep going without them. But knowing all of that doesn't win mana taurite, pay equity claims. People influencing decision makers, those who hold the power and the purse strings, is what is needed. Now this stupid thing, aroa mai, technology, eh? People influencing decision makers, those who hold the power and the purse strings is what's needed, and just what I said. However, the elephant in the room for mana taurite pay equity claims is funding. When we start to talk about who pays, we also need to remember that this is about addressing wage justice. The vast majority of support staff are paid out of school operational funding. ECE services are bulk funded, and the government is the biggest funder of these workforces. Winning mana taurite pay equity claims for support staff and in early childhood education means we must ensure the government fully funds the settlements, and that means there's a role for us all to influence them. So kia kaha koutou, mana taurite.
So we've seen some great things happen so far, building critical mass for influencing as our pledge for mana taurite pay equity has been rolled out. The pledge asks people to sign up to support the concept of mana taurite pay equity as a fairness issue. We've started this in our workplace, where the pledge opens up opportunities for discussions, for building understanding and for growing support. So we have to go wider to grow our circle of influence, because we need to create enough critical mass to move the government to fund. So you've got about 8 minutes in your table groups to consider the following questions. So listen carefully. What will make the funding of mana taurite pay equity settlements an issue for government? How can we contribute to this? And what are our 3 best and brightest ideas for actions, stunts, events, and contributions that will make a difference? So I'll just read those out again. What will make the funding of mana taurite pay equity settlements an issue for government? How can we contribute to this? And what are your 3 best and brightest ideas for actions, stunts, events, and contributions that will make a difference? Off you go. So, what brings all our claims and all of us together is a shared goal of changing lives by winning settlements that recognise the undervalued skills. So we want to finish our session by recognising those members here today who have volunteered to work to make a difference through building the mana taurite pay equity movement for change. So we've got some instructions and I need you guys to listen up, okay? So we're going to list out a whole lot of different things and you need to be listening out to see if you fit that category. And if you do, you stand up. And once you're standing up, you stay standing up, okay? So there's no going to be sitting back down again. And you stay standing to the end. Right, so we're going to go through this quite fast, so please listen out. So I want you to stand up. If you're a support staff, mana taurite pay equity volunteer, you might have done leadership in your work site, you might have done something for pay equity, the signage, stuff like that. You stand up if you're a principal who's championing mana taurite pay equity. Stand up if you're an early childhood sector mana taurite pay equity volunteer. If you are a support worker who has settled a mana taurite pay equity claim. You have supported by signing the pledge, hosting activity, talking to someone else about mana taurite pay equity. Stand up if you have contributed ideas today about how we can all help build the movement for change. And stand up if you have decided your next action to support winning mana taurite pay equity. And I hope everyone is standing. Yeah!
Ka whawhai tonu tātou, we are still fighting. Engari, but we need to be on the same waka. Kia kotahi te hoi o te waka. Kia ora tātou katoa.